No, actually, for me, Noira has been a very emotional part of my journey. I am a first generation jewelry entrepreneur and I'm a woman. Like, I started this brand at a time where I was lost.
Jewelry can be connected to divine femininity as well.
I want to create jewelry that not only I would wear, but the modern woman of today would wear. And the modern woman is someone like me, she's self-made, she has been through a journey, she's been through struggles, and yet she emerges stronger and stronger. At the time where everything was very negative and, you were surrounded by the energy. But then I was like, you know what? I had this inner voice inside me where I felt like I'm going to take all of this and convert into stunning high vibration jewelry.
वेलकम टू एनबी पे बातचीत एंड दिस इज लावण्या एंड आज हम बहुत ही ज़्यादा इंटरेस्टिंग एंड डीप कॉन्वर्जेशंस करने वाले हैं विद नन अदर दैन मिस मेहर जेठली. First of all, ma'am, welcome to our show because today we are going to talk about unique customization of jewelry. We are going to talk about her brand, famously known as Noira, and deep concepts behind stones, behind jewelry, and her own journey as well. So I am very excited for this. So let's begin.
It's really an honor to be here, and thank you so much, Lavanya, for inviting me. And this is actually my first podcast as well, so I'm very excited.
Wow, that's amazing. And I am sure that this is not only going to be your first podcast, but this will also be one of your best podcasts.
I hope so.
Yeah, so to begin with, first of all, if you're talking about Noira as a brand, so I have heard from people and I have heard many reviews about this jewelry as well that currently it feels less like jewelry and more like an emotion. People are deeply connecting with the jewelry over here. So was this intentional or did it just evolve like that?
No, actually, for me, Noira has been a very emotional part of my journey. Like, I started this brand at a time where I was lost. There was a bit of, I lacked direction and I was in a very bad headspace. At the time where everything was very negative and, you were surrounded by the energy. But then I was like, you know what? I had this inner voice inside me where I felt like I'm going to take all of this and convert into stunning high vibration jewelry. And this sort of helped me and saved me. And that is why whoever buys my jewelry, they feel very elevated when they wear it.
So if you would like to describe Noira as a personality, let us say Noira is a female, she's a woman. So how would you describe her? Would it be soft? Would it be powerful? Or would it be a little intimidating?
I personally believe that the Noira woman that comes in my head, especially when I look at myself or look at the women who wear Noira, those women, they know exactly who they are. So they are powerful. And yes, you can call them a little intimidating because they are so sure of themselves. They make their own rules, they follow their own mind. So I personally believe that they are happy being who they are.
Definitely. So what part of you exists in every Noira piece?
Oh, I think there are a lot of me that exists in all these pieces. Because, I want to create jewelry that not only I would wear, but the modern woman of today would wear. And the modern woman is someone like me, she's self-made, she has been through a journey, she's been through struggles, and yet she emerges stronger and stronger. That is why in every jewelry piece of mine, I make sure that I use crystals, I use very good quality stones, very good quality finishing that gives that little edge. So yes, there is that little piece of me.
I think that is what we usually call divine feminine.
I agree,
and jewelry can be connected to divine femininity as well. Because if you're wearing unique jewelry, especially I am wearing today, because when we arrived for this podcast, Miss Meher literally told me to, change my jewelry. And this jewelry that I'm wearing right now is from Noira. And trust me, after wearing this, I'm feeling so relaxed. So what are the crystals used in the necklace that I'm wearing right now?
Okay, so you are wearing three. So basically, Lavanya, if you can see, she's wearing three different necklaces. So the long one is called the Soul Lariat necklace. So that is a combination of rose quartz and amethyst. Like we are using dark. So the dark color amethyst comes from the African amethyst. That's what we're using. Then she's wearing this stunning Amara cross. So this has moonstone, it has rose quartz, and it has again African amethyst. and you're wearing this beaded choker as well. That also contains African amethyst. And she's wearing these stunning cross earrings as well. That also contains African amethyst, rainbow moonstone, and rose quartz. You know, all these stones, the way she mentioned that, you know, it's all about divine femininity. So these stones actually make the woman feel comfortable in her own skin, empowers her, and can even create that boundary of protection around her.
That is so
So,
true,
yeah.
because when you gave me this jewelry personally as well, since I have worn this, I am feeling so calm right now. I am
Thank you.
feeling so motivated. I am feeling so, joyful right
Yeah.
now. So I think that is the effect over here. And
Yes.
Moonstone is somewhere helping me balance my emotions
Yes.
on a deeper level. Moon is connected to emotions as well.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think every single stone does make a difference, and personally wearing this I can feel the same. So if you're talking about specific stones and jewelry,
Yes.
so being the owner of this organization, what is your favorite jewelry on a personal level? Even though everything is yours,
Yeah,
but which
yeah.
piece is your favorite?
Okay, so this is the most favorite necklace of mine. It's called the Queen's Coronation Necklace.
Okay.
And so the reason why it's called the Queen's Coronation Necklace is that, you know, when I was designing this necklace, I remembered this scene from a movie where this lady buys a pair of earrings that was worn by a queen in her previous time. So this is exactly what the whole story of this necklace is, that, you know, women who are stepping into a new phase of their life, who feel like now I've entered my queen era.
Wow.
So this is something that they should definitely buy, because it's going to literally anoint you as a queen in your life.
Amazing. So your jewelry is so much full of, emotions, culture, history. So if you're talking about all three of them together, according to you, what do you believe? Is art more important, or is trends more important? Or if we can say that both of them are important right now,
Yeah.
so how are you creating that balance at Noida?
Okay, so for me, I have always believed, like, for example, trend and art are actually two different markets. If
Right.
you study it, it's a very different thing. So for me, I personally believe that I want to create pieces that have a very classic value. Like even 20 years down the line, 25 years down the line, or 30 years down the line, you're still going to be like, wow, I own this piece and it's effortless and it's going to last me a lifetime. So that's the thing with me, that I personally believe that I want to create art with every piece I make, so that even if you pass it on to your children, they will be like, wow, she owned this piece and she wore it with great pride and now she's giving it to me. And I also feel that same energy. Because if you see in our country also, jewelry is generational, right? Your dadis passed it on to your mothers or their daughters, and then they passed it on to their children. So that is that emotional connect. So I always believe that jewelry should be like art.
Definitely, it should be art. So let's be real. How much of this jewelry is real craftsmanship versus storytelling or marketing?
So basically, all my jewelry is focused on craftsmanship. But the thing is that in today's day and age, for any brand, like any upcoming brand or any brand that has to exist in the market, you need to be a master of both.
Mm-hmm.
But then I would say that you should prioritize on great craftsmanship. I would not even say good at this point, because the market is very competitive at the moment. So if you have great craftsmanship, you're going to get customer loyalty and you're going to get such amazing customer response that, you know, when they buy a product online and they actually see the product, they will have that wow, aha, jaw-dropping moment. So I personally believe that storytelling is fine,
Mm-hmm.
but then there is a limit to how much perception can play. You understand?
Yeah, we
at the
don't
end of
want
the day-
propaganda over here. We're
Yeah,
talking about originality. Yeah.
Exactly. You don't want propaganda. You don't want overselling. You don't want attention-seeking marketing.
Right.
Because if your product is not good, you have failed. So I personally believe that focus on product, marketing baad mein aa
So
jayegi.
did you ever have that I just failed moment?
Oh, I've had it multiple times.
Please tell us more about
I
that.
am not gonna lie. Like, I think mind you, Lavanya, you have to hear this, that I am a first generation jewelry entrepreneur and I'm a woman. You understand?
I understand.
It's a very tough place for me, because I am in an industry where I'm dealing with second generation, third generation entrepreneurs. right?
That's not
So
easy.
it's not easy. It's so tough. So I think I have a I will fail, or ये खत्म हो जाएगा moment. और काफी होता है मेरे साथ. But then there's that little thing that Meher, step out into the market. कभी थोड़ा Google search कर ले. अगर तेरे type का if people are making something that you are making, and because I'm focusing on innovation, I'm focusing on design, I'm focusing on we all as a society wear better jewelry. But I don't see that in the market. I just see copy paste designs all the time.
Right.
So then I'm like, okay, and then I see my journey of 4-5 years in building a brand. I think I am here to stay, and and that confidence has come only from customers who have regularly come and believed in my brand.
I think for every brand, customers matters a lot, and their belief matters a lot. So is there any specific customer testimony that touched your heart?
Oh yeah, this is actually I remember this really well. So there was this lawyer, I think she discovered my brand in 2020, and she ended up buying 4-5 pieces. I've done some custom, like 1 or 2 custom pieces for her, and literally she, in her customer testimony, I've actually posted it on my blog as well. That is like my favorite customer testimony, because even when I could not see it, she literally said that you have a fan in me. Yes.
Wow.
At that moment. Mind you, this is a time when my brand, no Bollywood celebrity.
I think that is what success smells like for you.
Yes,
Is it?
Exactly, because there was no Bollywood celebrity who wore my jewelry at that time. There was no influencer. Only basics, she became a fan of my jewelry on the quality, the craftsmanship, and the designing that I do.
So
yeah.
If you're talking about your jewelry, I can see so many designs over here, and I can personally see, especially this one is appealing to me.
Yes.
Because we can see a sun sign over here with purple and white, which is something very unique if you're talking about golden sun and everything.
Yes.
So please tell us, what is the hidden meaning behind this specific piece, as well as your other pieces? What is the core message that most of your, or at least 90% of your jewelry is delivering?
Sure, I will. So basically, Lavanya has picked up a really stunning piece. So this is called the Violet Sovereign Bracelet, and this is a part of my latest collection called Talisman. So this is like a sunburst effect. So if you go to European museums, you will see the kind of craftsmanship and workmanship there, right? So they used to play with a lot of this sun displays. They would play with talismans, a lot of these things. So for me, I wanted to create. There's a pair of earrings also that look like this. I wanted to create a piece which is very high, which gives you the feel that you're royalty and you have to come back to your own power. So that is why the purple that you see, this is
there any reason that I felt attracted to this piece among all your pieces?
Yes.
Are there reasons specifically? Please describe.
I will definitely tell you. There's a reason why this is very attractive, is because I would also say that this has a very powerful stone. It has the African amethyst, which is what I'm using. It is one of the best quality of amethyst available in the market. And amethyst is a very high vibrational stone. The moment you wear it, you will automatically feel very protected. You will feel very light, and you will feel your energy is lifting up.
Exactly what I'm feeling right now with this.
Yeah. So, but another thing about this design is, because this. So the kind of setting that you see here, this is usually done in diamond setting.
Wow.
Yes. That is what I'm saying. These are called baguettes. The rectangular settings are called baguettes. Then you have the garnet cabochons. Cabochons are like rounded stones.
Okay. So is there a reason for them? Like,
cutting.
Does shape matter?
No, this is cutting, and this is like, it depends upon your design also. How do you want to play? For example, I wanted to use both a combination of cut and the finished and the most polished technique.
So what is the reason that people tend to get attracted to certain stones? Let us say today I am getting attracted to African amethyst mostly. Otherwise, usually I'm attracted to rose quartz. Sometimes I'm attracted to pyrite. So does energy matter, and what is the reason for this attraction? Because sometimes even as a layman, even as common people, let us suppose I have no knowledge of crystals, right? I don't know what these crystals are. I just enter into a random jewelry shop because I want to buy some matching jewelry for my dresses. Somehow there are certain pieces that attract us, and most women will relate to this. So what is the reason?
So I personally believe it is about that particular mood you're feeling that day and your particular intention for that day. So for example, like,
what am I feeling today? I got attracted to African
maybe you're feeling you wanted protection, you wanted love, you wanted confidence within yourself.
Yes, for this podcast, yes.
That's what. This was not rehearsed, by the way. This is very like, so that's the thing. Like, you know, so that is why intuitively, even when I was sort of styling you also, I intuitively went for these pieces. Otherwise, I could have gone for any piece.
Of course, everything is matching right now.
Yeah, everything went out so well because I personally, and my hand also went towards that. That, you know, because I think maybe if she wears this, she will feel far more, you know, a lot of self-love,
light
a lot
and
of
confident. Yeah.
I can see the glow on your face also. You see, like right now, literally you're shining. And yeah, so I personally believe that it's about that particular moment. Like, what does that person want at that time? For example, you spoke about Rainbow Moonstone. Right. Now, a lot of people do not know this, that or I think women know this now. So women are ruled by the moon, right? We have a 28-day cycle, the way the moon cycles are. So the thing is that moonstones help you regulate your moods in every part of your cycle. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, it is a very,
so
very
I think
stone.
Every woman should wear, you know, moonstone because that will help you in your cycle and every phase. We have 4 phases usually, right? Follicular, luteal, ovulation, all the 4 phases that we're talking about.
Yes.
So you mean that moonstone crystal can actually help a woman if she's wearing it on a regular basis to balance her cycle or to understand her cycle better?
I would not say only balance the cycle, but even her moods.
Wow.
Because we are more prone to
mood swings, right?
Because we are driven by our hormones.
Yes, we are.
So that's the thing. Like even something as simple as the sea waves. You have to understand, women are
like a sea.
They are literally like nature. Right, they are as cyclical as nature. So that's why you have to understand that the way the sea also is, you know, dependent on the moon phases. That is how women are. So we have that ebbs and flow within us. So I personally
this crystal basically helps you regulate your moods basically.
Yes, I would definitely say that I've seen a difference with.
So is there any jewelry piece that you personally designed or you personally loved, but then somehow it didn't perform well, or you were a little nervous while making it or while giving it to someone? You know, ever felt underconfident?
Yes, actually I would not say underconfident, but yeah, another thing is that there have been several jewelry pieces that they looked nice, but then the quality of workmanship, I'm not saying the quality of plating or the stone, quality of workmanship, for example, technique went wrong.
So how do I decide the quality of my jewelry? Like if I want to buy, there are so many brands available, especially with Noira. So why should a person choose Noira as a brand first of all? And secondly, how do I know that Noira's as a lay person, honestly for the audience, how do I know that Noira's jewelry is of good quality, and if there is any other brand, it may not be of good quality? How do I trust?
Sure. So the thing is with Noira that what we are managing to do is that even through our Instagram posts and even through all the information on our website, we make sure we mention that what base metal we are using, what plating we are using, what gemstone we are using. You know, it is a very informative thing. Like we even write the measurement, you know, the weight of everything, so that you make a very informed decision. And that's what I want people should start doing with jewelry. I am not against impulse buying.
Right.
I'm not an impulse buyer for sure. Like I'm an intentional buyer. But that's the thing. The reason why I am different from my competition is that I spoil my customer with good quality. That is the thing. Like, you know, they can never challenge me on my quality. They can't be like, "Arey, iska color nikal gaya, iski polish chali gayi."
You give guarantee over here on camera.
Yes, there is a guaranteed piece here, and even the pieces are right in front of you. So the thing is that I give them guarantees, and I also even take care of their jewelry. For example, like, you know, if you buy something from me today and 1 year later you're like, you know, Meher, can I get this repolished or something? I'm like, or can I get this replated? Sorry, I don't get it into polishing. I'm more than happy to plate it for you for free for the first time.
So basically you mean that you just don't give jewelry, but you're also helping in the maintenance of the jewelry. And you are providing those services as well. I think that is the most rare thing that Noira is doing, because other brands don't really do that. It's like if you buy, then they don't care. But that's a good thing that you're doing it. So I think this is your core USP. Wow, that's lovely. So also about this journey, we are talking about slow luxury in some way, right? But today, Gen Z especially and the new generation is focusing more on trends. So are we balancing both? Like, how do we introduce slow luxury to a generation that's full of fast trends?
No, but I have to say one thing that I've noticed about Gen Z is that there is a part of the generation that does want trends, but there's a part that even asks questions. They are very active, they're very aware, they want transparent processes. So I personally believe that I think Gen Z, more than millennials, they are far more aware about a lot of things. So I personally believe that they're not only trend driven, they also want to know that whatever I'm buying, is it profiting a very big organization that is harming the environment, or it is like a nice small business that I can buy nice jewelry that will take care of my jewelry, is transparent with their processes. So this also matters more to them. So I
Right.
do believe in that.
Founder of this organization, you just mentioned previously in the previous questions about your challenges, that you are the only generation as a woman, but you did not really mention about your challenges as a female only. So what are the major 3 challenges that you are facing currently as a female in this industry?
Okay. So first of all, I love this question and I'm so glad I get to answer this question because I don't get this question asked a lot. So first example, you have to understand one thing. Like, I started this brand from scratch, right? So I had to find my way in a system that is not designed for people like me.
Right.
They're second generation, even in the manufacturing stage, even in the stone sourcing stage, it is predominantly, owned by men. All the
Patriarchy
processes,
still rules.
patriarchy की बात नहीं है, but this industry is male dominated. You understand?
Right.
Like, in the sense that आपका stone vendor is going to be a man, your manufacturing guy is going to be a man, your artisan is going to
But
be a
we're talking
man.
jewelry.
Yeah, and we're talking jewelry. Can you imagine? They've dominated, and it is so like, and because they've been in this business for decades and a few centuries, I would say.
Right.
Because their dada started it, then their fathers took it forward, and then they took it. They are now. So there's a lot of entitlement. There's a lot of egos at play, and it is basically a system not designed for you. That is like one challenge I face. Second challenge I face as a brand, I would say, is that I'm still finding a way how to crack the visibility game, because they assume that you're a female founder, so bas every day you should just post a video. Every day you should just wear makeup and jewelry, just post a video and keep throwing yourself on the camera. And I am very shy, like, in the sense, because I'm
Okay.
a designer at my core, right? So I am this person who wants to be in my zone and just
keep designing and not really face the camera.
Yes, exactly. Like, this is I don't know how I've come today. I only know. But the thing is that I love being behind the scene, because I love that whole process of working with artisans and designing my pieces and sketching, or sitting in a cafe all by myself and doing everything. So second is visibility, but I'm still figuring out how to find the right sort of visibility. And the third challenge I would face as a female founder is that I think, these two main challenges are there.
These
That's
two
what
are
I
the
feel.
major challenges.
Yes, that's how I would say.
Okay, so if you're talking about luxury, right?
Yes.
So luxury in a word is itself very heavy and everybody's favorite word. But let's get deeper inside this. So luxury as a word, for some people it's a mindset, but some even say that luxury is just a marketing illusion. Very well packed items, very beautiful items, packed properly and marketed well,
Yeah.
and then they call it luxury. It's just a label. So some say it's a mindset, some say it's a label. What does Meher say?
What does Meher say? Oh, lovely. This is also a very good question. I personally believe that, and I'm so glad we are in 2026 today, because the definition of luxury is that I can be what I want with whatever price bracket I'm at.
Wow.
And I don't need to rely on external validation. I don't need to look at Deepika Padukone to feel luxurious. I don't need to look at Tom Cruise to feel luxurious.
So
I
how
can
do you
luxurious.
feel luxurious?
Oh,
How do you
yes.
think you are luxurious? Just talk about yourself for this.
Perfect. I think that's a lovely question. I personally believe that if I can buy myself me time, I can buy myself a very quiet space. For example, if luxury for me is that today if I want to take a flight out to Jaipur or Italy, I can do that, and I can book myself a nice space where nobody's coming to disturb me, and I can do what I want exactly with my time. That is what luxury for me is. Luxury for me does not mean that I have to wear labels, to show people. Because it's not about external validation. It's about, at the end of the day, it's about how comfortable do I feel. Even with the jewelry I make, so this is one piece that I wear every time. It's like my clear quartz necklace that, for me, this is luxury for me because this gets the most eyeballs, trust me. I enter a room and people are like, wow, she's wearing such an insane, we always seen transparent necklaces, but they touch it and they're like, oh, this is a semi-precious stone. And I'm like, yeah, so luxury is silence, luxury is peaceful, it's very calm, and it's confidence in yourself. Yeah.
That's for sure. So do you think Indian jewelry D2C has a credibility problem right now?
I think I'm definitely saying it's a great space we are in, like, because there's so much of innovation happening. But again, it's become a khichdi also. There's a little bit of a mess because it is like everybody is either focusing on building pure gold jewelry, like pure gemstone jewelry, or everybody's focused on very cheap jewelry that they import from Taiwan or China. So nobody's following and nobody's been able to fix that middle ground that exists. And that's exactly what I'm trying to do with Noira. Like, because if you see the average salaries that people have, the average salary is 5 to 10 lakhs an annum and that's a very big market. And they don't want to keep investing in pure, real gold. That is the thing. So this is a great market for people who can get into high quality plating with, base metals like brass. Because I think recently, if you heard the news, gold and silver had a crazy time. Like,
right.
So silver
gold and silver was everything once.
No, abhi bhi hai. Like, in the sense the price points became, you can't even touch them. Can you imagine silver touched 4 lakh rupees a kg? Literally Jan, Feb. Yes.
Oh my God. Okay.
Now just imagine what it was 1 or 2 years back. Today it was like Jan. So a big multinational like Pandora, can you imagine? They pivoted from silver and they went towards platinum plated metals because they were like, we have to work on our costings again. And this is a company that has only worked on silver. So you have to understand that, the way metals are shifting and evolving. So even we will not stop buying jewelry. You understand?
Nobody will. Sure.
Nobody will stop buying jewelry, but yes, they will pivot to better options. So I was like, why not? Because, we have such great plating techniques. Instead of going for a gold polish, go for a brass with 1 micron or 2 micron plating, get a nickel-free, lead-free plating, and it's good to go.
Definitely it is. So what does wearing Noira say about a person without saying a word? If I just wear Noira jewelry and I enter a room, so how does Noira jewelry speaks for itself that is different from other jewelry brands?
Okay, so if the person who's wearing Noira, then that person is the most self-aware person.
Wow.
Yes, that means this person knows who they are. Because you have not followed a celebrity and copied their style. You have basically chosen pieces that look good for you. So there's a lot of confidence.
Have you seen confidence shifts in people after they wear your jewelry? Other than me, I am feeling very confident after wearing this.
You should have done a before and after. वो नहीं किया करना चाहिए था.
Yeah, we should have. But other than me, overall, if you're talking about your customers, and how does that affect you? I'm sure you feel very proud of that.
Yes.
But any specific customer that you remember, or some specific lines that they have told you, especially after wearing your jewelry?
So basically, I've had this I've had this with custom jewelry that I've done. I've had this experience with people who bought pieces of mine. I mean, they just literally feel like, Meher, I can just wear this with anything. And it instantly picks the outfit up. It instantly boosts my confidence.
So if you're talking about custom jewelry,
yes.
So what is the biggest misconception that people have?
Yeah, people assume that custom jewelry means that real gold mein karwani hai. Like in the sense, and that's what I find funny because customization is available to you because this is what Noira is. This is one unique brand in our country where you can even get customized jewelry in brass. You can get customized jewelry in silver.
Can you describe customized jewelry from Noira?
Okay.
In your own words.
Sure. So customized jewelry from Noira means I start the jewelry from scratch and I work with the customer. So the customer comes with me with an idea, and obviously it is my job to help the customer evolve and brainstorm on that idea better. Because you might come with this vision that you have, but then you might not have the technical know-how of it. I can give that to you, and maybe I can even improvise on that idea. And so the end result is a piece that even you can't even imagine what it was. You're like, wow, Like this is such a unique, and plus with that custom piece from Noida, you'll have a piece that is unique to you. You know how amazing that feeling is? That
Like
oh
a
my
piece
God.
that talks about your own personality.
Yes, it talks about your personality, and you will never find it anywhere else unless you go to some museum. शायद वहाँ दिख जाए वैसा टाइप का कुछ दिख जाए, but आपको मार्केट में नहीं मिलेगा because it is you. Like if I design something for Lavanya, it's going to be uniquely Lavanya.
Surely,
So,
like
yeah.
it tells more about my personality and my traits and everything.
Yes, that's what I want to do. Like whoever comes to me for a custom request, I want to understand their need, I want to understand their wants, I want to understand them as a person and deliver a product which is going to be good for them. That's the thing.
I think that is something that is very unique.
Yeah.
So how can you make any piece look expensive without the actual price being that expensive?
No. Expensive mein to you will have to actual price bhi badega, because you have to understand a piece that is expensive, that looks expensive also, you have to understand each step, each component of that. You have not compromised on the quality. You have maintained and you've been consistent with the quality at step by step. If I start with the base metal, if I'm using 18 karat gold, my lab report has to say that this is 75% gold. It cannot say it's 71% gold. You understand?
Right.
तुम वहाँ पर भी वो the correct word in Hindi is मिलावट, right?
Right.
आप मिलावट नहीं करते हो. You know, this is like there's no adulteration at any process, any step. So whether it's silver also it has to be 92.5. Sometimes because the silver that I end up using, my lab report end up saying 93.8. Yeah, but if you test other people's silver, it's going to show 87.5. This is also something I have to tell you. No, I'm telling you on your face that a lot. So the silver that we are buying from very mainstream stores, I don't want to name them, there is so much of impurity in that. They claim to be 92.5, but they're not. So that is what luxury for me is, that whether it's the gold, whether it's silver, the plating I'm using, am I using a polish, I'm going towards rhodium plating, or am I going towards micron plating? Stone selection, for example, am I using a very cheap quality emerald, or I'm using a Zambian or a Colombian emerald? So at every step, it all adds up. That is what a luxurious and expensive product should look like.
So if we dig deeper into this industry, especially the jewelry industry, you just mentioned certain challenges that you're facing. Despite these challenges, jewelry industry is one of the most glamorous industries. What is the most unglamorous part about this industry that is not revealed? And Meher is going to reveal this to us.
If you're building a jewelry brand the authentic way, there is no glamour. So any of you, like, if you are, please, ye dimag se nikal do. There is no glamour if you're doing it right. If you're doing it wrong, then you are just an influencer. If you're doing it right, because there is a lot of grind, there is a lot of running around, there is a lot of, dealing with different people from different parts of the supply chain. For example, like me, my challenges, or even this is what I'm saying, that, the actual part of the process is that I have to take a flight from Delhi to Jaipur, and I have to be in conditions where there are no AC, there is no comfort, आपको 3-4 घंटे या 8-8 घंटे खाना भी नहीं मिलता है, because you have to sit with the कारीगर, you have to get, and that too in those conditions, right?
So after facing all of this, have you dealt with certain customers who have a very bad buying behavior? Buying behavior is also very big terminology that is usually used in the industry, wherein we see that some customers have a good buying behavior and some customers have a slightly a negative buying behavior. So what does someone's buying behavior say about their mindset?
I personally believe that a lot of people are mood shoppers. वो अपने mood के साथ, they shop according to their moods, and even like so, and because people have so much of disposable income right now, they're doing mindless shopping. So good and bad की तो बात ही नहीं है. They don't even know what they're buying. They fought with someone, then they go to the mall, they like something instantly at that time, they buy it, and then 10 days later on, they're like, oh, why did I buy it? Because you're not using your brain at that time. So people who have good buying behavior, right, they are very intentional shoppers. They will buy, because you have to understand one thing, you have to learn how to balance your moods. I mean, we are all human. I'm not going to say that.
We have the moonstone for that.
Yes, you can come to me for the moonstone. But yes, you have to understand something, that agreed, you have a lot of money, you have a lot of disposable income. But the thing is that buy pieces or buy clothes or buy anything for that matter of fact when you are in a balanced mood. That's what they say, right? When you're hungry, never go grocery shopping. Because you'll end up picking up the most junk food available आपको होता है ना, because you want to immediately finish that hunger at that moment, because your challenge is like, okay, whatever comes in my hand, I'm going to eat it up and my hunger is going to go. That is why always go grocery shopping when you're little full. That is the same with clothing, that is the same with jewelry, that is the same with anything. So the good and bad का difference यही है, know how to balance your moods and go shopping at a time when you feel that you're in a good headspace.
Definitely.
I would recommend getting a spa done. You want to go,
Okay.
go get a spa done and then buy jewelry. Then you'll see a difference. Then you'll end up buying a beautiful piece that you're going to be like, wow, I feel so zen in it. So, yeah.
Okay, so next time you buy jewelry from Noira, book a spa.
Why not?
Okay, so what is Noira as a brand currently facing? You know, what is the biggest challenge right now for Noira?
I would say visibility.
Visibility.
Yes, like I think I even spoke to you about it previously, and for me it's about the right kind of visibility, you know, because you have to understand that I'm a designer and I cannot dance to sell jewelry. I cannot stand on very expensive cars and be like, hey, you know, buy my jewelry. I can't do all of that. The only thing I'm good at is my product, like in the sense that, and so I'm still figuring out like how to find the right form of visibility for the brand.
So
Like,
all
that's
the
what I'm
viewers
saying.
watching this, if you have any advice for Noira and Meher, please do comment.
But
to
no
us.
attention-seeking advice, that is going to be rejected.
Definitely, she's a designer, and we can see every design is very unique, filled with culture, history, and emotion, and it is something worth appreciating. We even spoke about arts and trends in this podcast, and it has been a lovely podcast so far. I mean,
thank
my
you.
mind opened up. We spoke about the moonstone as a female, that every woman needs to wear moonstone and why. So I think these few factors are actually worth it, and I think everyone should watch this. So it has been an honor talking with you. And just before, last but not the least, one specific message in like 4 to 5 lines on camera that you would like to give audience about you, your brand, and this industry.
Okay. So my name is Meher Jaitley, as Lavanya has introduced you, and I am a jewelry entrepreneur and I founded Noira. So I'm very passionate about, you know, people wearing very good quality jewelry at a very nice, affordable price point. So that is why I'm building Noira, because I want, and there is a lot of potential. You can get customization done at a reasonable price point. You can wear good quality stuff at a reasonable price point. And that's my mission. I'm on a mission to make people wear very good, high fashion jewelry at reasonable price.
So once again, we wish you all the best for this endeavor of yours, and I'm sure and I'm very hopeful that every challenge, this is just a phase. You will also, you know, go through this, and especially with crystals, I'm sure it's going to be very fast. So I recommend everybody watching this to, you know, connect with Noira and shop after a spa, surely. And thank you so much for being here. It's an honor talking with you. So once again, at NB Pe Baatcheet, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.